Hi, the pioneer I chose is Gerald Larson, also known as Jerry Larson. Gerald Larson was the first African American to be honored by the International Game Developers Association as an industry pioneer. He was born in 1940 and died in 2011 at the age of 70. Gerald Larson was inspired as a child by the works of George Washington Carver and used that inspiration as a driving force to become an engineer. Washington Carver was an African American who was greatly known for his uses with the peanut. Larson, as a child, disassembled and repaired electronics constantly. That is to say, he had minimal training or education in electronics and engineering, but he did, however, attend Queens College and the City College of New York. Sometime after college, he found a job at Fairchild Semiconductor. Originally, he worked as an engineer, but soon transitioned to computer technology. It was here that he became the founder of the first cartridge-based video game console. His technological contribution came into existence due to a strong friendship with the creators of Atari and Pong. He actually met them, both those individuals, when he became a part of the computer club. After a day of throwing ideas back and forth with his fellow pioneers, Larson developed one of the first coin-operated arcades by the name of Demolition Derby. Um, when his company that he worked for, Fairchild Semiconductor, saw his arcade prototype, they placed him in charge of building a home video game console. This console became known as Fairchild Channel F. It was the first cartridge-based video game console. It was truly the starting point for video games, the beginning of what we have today. Largely began a transition that Sony later would add upon by introducing disc-based video games. After Larson's time at Fairchild, he started his own company called VideoSoft. By doing this, he also became the first independent video game company, with an African American man as leader, of course. His company developed mostly software for Atari, which is actually a promising business move, being that he was friends with the creator of Atari. Personally, I would love to be I would love to be in a friendship with a CEO of a first-party developer, and in a sense, me being an independent developer myself. Mainly because of the access to equipment and resources, but most of all, the senior experience. The greatest invention that came from Larson's company was a cartridge called Color Bar Generator, which is a cartridge that allowed console owners to calibrate a TV's color, vertical, and horizontal picture markings. The color bar generator is what we see in every video game today. For me, this is interesting because the transition of higher resolution TVs and games made a necessity for the control to be in the player's hands. During Larson's time, a heavy variation of TVs, games, and consoles like we have today simply did not exist. The other invention that came from Larson is a system called PAL, which allowed children to call in and stream video games that were currently out during that time. This is the first instance of streaming that was actually used for video games. So Larson was actually the pioneer of streaming. I believe through this and the ones I have mentioned prior, he is a pioneer that is to be remembered as far as video games go.